This is November 11th. It is Remembrance Day. But it's a very different Remembrance Day this year because we don't have huge crowds at cenotaphs all over this country. It's a quieter place. It's a time where we can really think about what Remembrance Day means to us. We don't have to gather in large crowds to make Remembrance Day poignant. We can remember each in our own way. Now, I'm a veteran of 33 years in the Canadian Armed Forces, and I also acquired post-traumatic stress disorder while I was deployed to Rwanda in 1994. It was a long, hard struggle to get back to a place of health. It took a long time. It took a lot of care, and there was a lot of damage done, not only to my own self, but also to my family. Because these injuries that come from war are devastating, not just to the veteran, but also to the family. So as you take some time today to think about Remembrance Day and what it might mean to you and your family, I want you to think about the veterans that we lost during all the wars that Canada has participated in, but also be aware that there are many veterans and families still struggling with the impact of those wars. It affects their lives from day to day. It's something that Wounded Warriors Canada has embraced and helped to create programs across the country to really help those veterans and those families return to health.
This Remembrance Day, I'm remembering my great uncle, Flight Sergeant Garnet Smith, whose plane was shot down over the Northern Sea in 1942, and my grandfather, Sergeant John Henderson, who served with the Essex Tank Regiment in World War II. But I'm also remembering that there are 3 generations of veterans who have served Canada since that time, and I'm remembering them whether they served at home or overseas.
Our military has always been a beacon of hope, doing what others could not, would not, or said was impossible. Through Veterans Week, culminating on Remembrance Day, our nation takes pause to honor and remember the sacrifice and service of Canadian Armed Forces members who stood and served from our very beginnings at Lundy's Lane to Queenston Heights, from Paterberg to Passchendaele, from the mud at Ypres to the heights at Vimy, from Artona to Dieppe to Juno, from the Battle of Britain to the victory in the Atlantic, from Capion to a multitude of UN peacekeeping missions, from the Madak Pocket to Panjwai to Kandahar, and now in Iraq, Ukraine, and Mali.
Je me souviens aussi, pendant ce temps de distanciation, la distanciation culturelle que nous, ceux en uniforme, ressent avec le reste du Canada, avec une équipe qui nous soutient, de Wounded Warriors Canada et d'autres, nous pouvons achever et terminer les blessures de santé mentale.
Good morning. My name is Russell Kay. On this Remembrance Day, I'm remembering. It is a day set aside each year on November 11th to honor and remember the men and women who have died in the service of their country. Today, it is important that we remember, for if we don't, the sacrifice of thousands of Canadian lives will be meaningless. They died for us, for their country, and for what they believed in. Our future is their monument. War touches the lives of all ages, of mothers, fathers, siblings, and loved ones, and especially the parents who remain behind, as their sons and daughters are deployed to a combat area. I remember receiving a late night call advising me that my grandson had been involved in a roadside bomb incident in Afghanistan. It made me think back to my wartime days when thousands of parents and spouses were getting visits from authorities advising them of the death or wounding of a loved one. I can tell you from experience that there is truly no glory in war. These men and women, our relatives, sons, fathers, uncles, and so on, helped to give us the freedom to enjoy life as we know it today. So today and every day, we will remember them.
I am standing in front of this cenotaph inspired by the Cross of Remembrance here at York Cemetery in North York, Ontario. This cross of sacrifice is modeled after the cross of sacrifices that stand as prominent features in Commonwealth War cemeteries worldwide. When this feature is present at a Commonwealth War cemetery, it indicates that there are a minimum of 40 of our fallen that are buried there. Today, in the shadow of this cenotaph, we recall the 111,500 stones that mark the place of the fallen Canadians from 2 world wars. The majority of these stones throughout Western Europe and some in the Far East. A further 516 stones are in Korea. And further, we reflect on the hundreds throughout the world that have served and have given their lives in peacekeeping, NATO, and related operations, whose resting places are scattered throughout our land, including the 158 who fell in Afghanistan. No matter where or when members of the Canadian Armed Forces have served, I know one thing. The Canadians who served and are serving, the Canadians who bear the scars of the service, the Canadians who shed their own blood, and those who've made the ultimate sacrifice, fought in that great tradition that has always been the hallmark of Canadian service members, confronting tyranny and being on the vanguard of freedom, always coming to the aid of others in need. They responded to that need with duty, honor, and with courage. We are indebted to their service as we live in our nation today. And so we pick up the time-honored refrain. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders fields.